ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got Mother Nature is on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
We need to future-proof our incomes. We're going to need incomes that aren't attached to Babylon, that aren't attached to rules and conditions that basically can stop that income at any time. We know what they want. We know all these plans they want to introduce. So we've come across a way that we can get out in front and detach ourselves from all the rules and basically start going forward and building the lives that we all deserve.
Yeah, we found a company that manufactures and sells in the country in which they offer their services. Why give up what you love simply because parts of this world have gone seemingly crazy? We figure if you stop feeding the beast, you feed love, your life can become much better with a simple shift in emphasis. Freedomshift.life. If you're willing to put some time into yourself, you can also help your abundance grow, and as Cambell said, without having to give up your medical sovereignty to do so.
Freedomshift.life. Hello and welcome to the Odyssey of Truth. We've got Lorenzo here again. I'm, of course, Cambell. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hope you are having a fantastic day. And today we're going to reverse what we talked about last time. Last time we talked about the inner world, and now we're going to talk about the outer world. But I guess we all know that the outer world is created by the inner world. So we'll be coming from that perspective. So again, we just got a few pics and memes we're going to go through and have a chat. And hopefully we'll get some interesting information and viewpoints out to you. So welcome, Lorenzo.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, from the outside in, so many people, maybe they get a bit lost when they're trying to figure out how to become responsible, how to make their life better, how to change things if they want to, taking responsibility. We've used that word a lot, and I found the most important word, which is why, we go back to it, because once you can take responsibility for everything in your life, you can take responsibility for any changes you want. And we talked about the inside world before, your decisions, your feelings, your heart center, but in some ways it could be easier, and it was for me, to start from the outside, changing your diet, changing what you think about voting, if you do such things, changing how you deal with your monetary situation or your money or your jobs, little things like that, changing how you interact with your wife or your husband if you're married, or how your children, if you have any, how your friends anyways. And so this is what I think we mean by the outside to the inside, is there's small changes, and any one of these that's done in a loving fashion can increase your own stability as far as your energy goes, and with that you can make better choices all around.
Yep, responsibility, the ability to respond. And of course, that is, that's basically what we're talking about, right? That's using your ability of your knowledge of what you know inside, and then putting that outside, which is how this whole thing works. And it's a funny thing that, we as humans don't really understand, where we are and how this place works. Everyone tries to change their outside world. And we look around and so many people have issues, that they can't seem to get the results they want. So obviously that's what we're going to talk about, because that's what we all want, right? We want the results that we want. And I suppose this all comes down to what are you creating? What do you believe you can create? So a few topics to hit here on this, as with everything, it's all, everything's connection. It's not as simple as it seems, but the thing is, when you do, take a bit of time and explore what's in there, it's really not as hard as they make it out. Change is an inside job, and it's definitely, doable for everyone. Just got to take a few steps. All right. So this is by one of my favorite philosophers. They're called Unknown. I think, or Unknownius to the Greeks. Truth is like surgery. It hurts, but it cures. Now, I put this one in here. This is obviously a bit of a metaphor, but truth is like surgery. It hurts, but it cures. And I think a lot of people right now are going through this or have been through this. Waking up to the truth is not always pleasant. And that can be to do with yourself or to do with the outside world. You might be waking up to, well, my body's not working the way I want it to. And so that truth is, I've got a bad diet and I need to make some changes and I need to get healthier. And that can hurt because you have to take, that responsibility, right? That you have to have that ability to respond properly. Because if you don't, then it just becomes a big thing and it sort of becomes poor little me, it hurts. But if you get through that, then you'll find the cure. Everything that's worthwhile, you've got to go through a bit of pain, unfortunately. You got to be worthy of what you want to receive.
And you never know what changes is going to come your way when you allow the truth to do its surgery, for lack of a better way, on you. I've had to sit with mistakes I've made, with problems I've had with myself, with limitations I've had in the way that I view things. And when it's been recommended to me from people in my life that I've been wrong in some way, at first you feel pain, or at least I do. Go, oh my goodness, I've been wrong. I mean, anyone's ever told they're wrong, usually that hurts in some way. And if you meditate, we've talked about that before as a way to get to somewhere new, and you just sit with how you could be wrong, doesn't mean you have been wrong. That could be a way to allow the surgery to take place. Like, how may I have been wrong in this situation? And then you're not fighting it. And if you see how you were wrong, even if it's only a half truth or you're only half wrong, then you make space to be half right the next time, or for new opportunities to open up in your conscious way of doing things.
Yeah, and of course, surgery is when, normally when they remove something from, as far as medical surgery. So this is the same thing when we find out the truth. We normally find out that we have, thoughts or beliefs that aren't actually, aiding us. They're not in our best interests. And that's what we need to get rid of. We need to cut these, these belief systems out if we're going to go forward into a new reality. And so that can hurt as well because, it's like Lorenzo said, we don't like to be wrong. The ego loves to be right and all this stuff. But I would say that, the day that you can understand that you're probably wrong, everything is your fault. I mean, let's say it like it is, right? The day you understand that everything is your fault, that's power. That means you can change stuff. When it's not your fault, it might feel good because you can point and say, but I didn't do that. But the truth is, it's very unempowering, and you'll still be sitting in the same place in 10 years going, see, it's the outside world. So yeah, understand everything's your fault. But when I say that, that means everything that you've created that's good is your fault as well. And this is what a lot of people don't think about. You say everything's your fault. They just focus on the bad stuff. Well, everything good is your fault too. So it's really just, how do you change that so you're getting more results that are good than bad? And that's obviously, we've really got to look at ourselves and remove some beliefs that are unempowering.
And to be clear, from anybody listening to this and is hit with pain, we don't mean if someone does something bad to you, their actions are your responsibility, because that's not, of course, accurate. Everyone's actions are their own responsibility. And the hardest part is looking at, let's say, little children that have had challenges with either parents or some sort of abuse, and to understand that it's not their responsibility in a way of what their parents did or what was done to them, of course, especially if you're small or a little one. But by the time you're looking at it from an intelligent perspective, you're probably an adult looking back on a situation that's happened or hasn't happened. And what we mean is, from that point, what you do with your life is your fault or your responsibility. We're not saying, like, let's say someone was abused, and I've heard it 100 times. I've had friends that, lady friends that did have some abuse when they were very young. And of course, it affected them deeply, and they had some challenges, if not many challenges. But it was a lady I knew, and she realized that, when she was in her 30s, when I met her, and she was abused when she was very young, that, sitting and simply pointing fingers at the time didn't help her when she was 30 with something that may have happened when she was 8, let's say. And I'm just pulling numbers out of the air. I don't remember exactly how old she was at the time. But what I'm saying is, she was brave enough to go, okay, that was then. No one was forgiven in the way that, obviously, it's not all right to abuse someone. So, we'll put that to one side as well. But it is all right to decide from that moment onward, you're going to do something for your life in relation to what happened that can make your life better as far as you would like to see it. You know, as Campbell said, from there, it's her fault, whether she sits and she's angry her whole life and doesn't do anything about it, or she sits and it's her fault and she goes, okay, maybe she'll start a group for other people that have been abused. Maybe she wants to become a counselor to help ladies that have been over challenges. You know, maybe she just wants to learn superior love, and she forgives people that have done whatever they've done because, you know, they had to do it for whatever reason they had to do it, I guess. But the bottom line is, you know, this would be truth, and with surgery that hurts. But from there, she may be able to, or he may be able to, if he was abused, because it probably goes both ways, to pick up the pieces from their life and not remain a victim forever. And, you know, it's a hard topic. I know it is, but the bottom line is, if you're sick, you have to heal yourself. And if you have some inner sickness, you know, you got to do it for yourself. And if it's painful, then that's just the way it is.
It is, and it's a hard topic. And yeah, like Lorenzo said, we're definitely not saying that, you know, things that events that happen to kids and all these things, you know, that you've asked for or anything. But like you said, there comes a time when we all, you know, look at our lives and we start thinking, and we think, oh, I want something different. And at that point, when you've got a viewpoint, that's when you need to take responsibility, because if you don't, you're just unfortunately living a life that's been given to you by your abuser. They've given you the parameters in your mind of what you can do and who you can be. And until you let go of that, they're kind of still controlling you. So,
For sure.
this is something we will get into later, but it's a very deep topic. So that's what we'll say about it on this video.
From the
But
outside in.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, from the outside in, study your parents, maybe. You know, that could be an outside way.
Mm.
I've done that. Study your mother and your father, if you've had both, you know, and you were raised with two parents, and see what they showed you, more than what they taught you with their words, but how they are. You know, my father wasn't very strong. I had to learn to be a stronger man. My mother was a little overbearing, you know, so I allowed myself to be kind of pushed around a little bit. I mean, these are just some general topics, but you know, if you study the outside and you see how you became who you became, you know, there could be an opportunity there for you to change your life in ways that you might not have been able to if you weren't honest with what you saw on the outside and you brought it to your inside, since that's our topic today.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll be able to identify, you know, like Lorenzo said, maybe you let people push you around a bit too much, and that's what you need to change. So George Bernard Shaw says, those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. And this is pretty much what we were just talking about. You know, unless you change, you know, the way you see the world and what you believe is real and what you believe is possible, nothing can change. You know, for things to change, things have to change.
Yeah. I mean, you know, small to the large. I mean, even I used to walk around my life complaining that restaurants never served good food. Snacks from all the convenience stores were horrible. What can I do when I'm hungry and I'm out in the day? You know, I don't have time to make myself lunch because I'm busy, you know, filling the blanks. Everyone's like that. And, you know, over the last few years, I've just started carrying around nuts and dried fruit. That's my small change on the outside, so that if I'm hungry, I don't make a bad choice. I change my mind, in other words, with what was possible for, let's say, my snacks. A very small way to look at things. So if you get hungry, a lot of people do, they make, let's say, poor choices when they need nourishment. So I always gave myself a pause by having organic nuts or organic dried fruit, you know, not always what you really want, but if you put a few in your mouth, so to speak, and, you know, you calm that voice of hunger down, you know, so it allowed me to be able to make a stronger choice moving forward, you know, to wait another hour, to find the next restaurant, to find, let's say, a store selling fruits instead of candy bars, let's say. So I changed my mind, in other words, with what was available to me. So instead of complaining that nobody's making me anything that I can eat in the outside world, you know, I took responsibility for my own nourishment by carrying it around with me. And is it always easy when you see some French fries or a hamburger or whatever you'd rather have, or, you know, a deep fried snack bar, or, you know, fill in your own blanks here? No, but, you know, it was a way of changing my mind about what's possible for my day. and allowing myself to see more of what is possible moving further, along. Maybe a small way of looking at a big thing, we've gone from child abuse, let's say, to snacks, but we're basically saying, from both sides of the picture, allowing yourself to change your outside world even a little bit will give you an opportunity for different options, which could make huge changes down the road.
Yeah, indeed. And options give you that gap in thinking. If you're walking down the street and you're hungry and you look around and you see your fast food shops and your deep fried Mars bars and things. If you've got no food, then that's kind of your only option if you're hungry is to buy what's there. But if you tap your pocket and go, oh, got a bag of nuts there, then that, as far as it gives you options, but it gives you that gap. It stops you like, because suddenly you've got an option. You can think of something else. So it's not, okay, is it McDonald's or that? It's do I even want any of this food? I've got a few nuts here. Maybe I'll just keep walking. It gives you that gap so that now you're acting and not reacting. So yeah,
Right.
all about options, I think. So, and I think, options is really, a good place to start, because people get trapped and feel they have no options. And that's really, when you have no options, that's really a place of despair, really, isn't it? Because if you're somewhere you don't want to be and you see and you think, because obviously we've always got options, but if you believe you've got none, then you're not going to do anything. You're going to sit there and things are going to get worse. So a big part of this is understanding you have options, and more than that, you have everything you need right now to go forward and to try those options. And if they don't work, it's just a mistake. It doesn't matter. It's just life. Try another one. But this is, it's a different way of looking at life. One way is, oh my God, I'm just going down here. This sucks. Look, oh my God, there's only fast food to eat. The other one is, oh, there's fast food. I'm hungry. Do I want it? I don't know. I've got options. I can make a decision now. And that's the big thing. Once you start making decisions and acting rather than reacting, then you're coming from a place of power.
Yeah, you can look at it. We can take it to a bigger picture from being abused when you were a child. You have options. You can look down that road and go, do I want to feel bad today because something bad happened to me a long time ago? You're kind of looking at the outside. It's like with the fast food. Do I want to feel bad by what I put in my body? No. So I'll go and have, a piece of fruit. Do I want to feel bad about feeling bad about something that happened 20, 30 years ago? Again, it's not your responsibility for what someone else did, but in that moment, you might say, no, I want to have a good day today. So let me figure out how to make my day a happy day. And I don't mean go la, 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 nothing happened, but to actually do that surgery from we saw before, and to figure out how to separate your past from your present. And again, we're not saying it's easy, but at that moment, you might find a friend to help you. You might find a better relationship. You might find a book. You might find a movie, a card, a bird, a butterfly, a flower. Really doesn't matter, but something. If you give yourself that pause and you realize you have an option for a better feeling, the world will help you out. If you're telling the world you want something better, you'll get an option, and your responsibility, we'll go back to that, is to decide to take that option, because that's what an option means. It's not something that's forced on you. It's potential. It's something you can do or cannot do. And since we all have free will, that's what it's all about. And you'll become stronger by seeing that you have those choices. I guess that brings us into the next one here.
Yeah, straight into, we see the world as it seems, rarely as it is, which means, we have these filters, we have these beliefs. And, it's just straight off what we were saying. You can look at the world and see no options, and you can talk yourself into it and then start believing, and, everything's bad. Everyone, it's so hard. Why me? Why me? And your brain, your mind will answer that question for you. It will give you the evidence. Oh, why you? Because this and things, you're going to create a reality that proves that you're right is what's going to happen. Or you have the option to look out and to choose to do something different, choose to take a different step, to go sideways and to try, just, try a bit of trust. What will happen, if I see the world differently, if I believe that people are nice, what will happen? And if people are nice, well, what does that mean? Well, I guess that means I've got to be nice. So maybe I need to start walking down the street and smiling at everyone and walking with my back straight. Maybe I'll start there. And funny thing is, if you do that, you'll find that people start smiling back at you, and you'll be like, oh, okay. So people aren't, and this is how you prove yourself right. And the same way, you could walk down going, everyone sucks, they're all out to get me. And people will look at you and they'll be like, oh, and you'll say, look, see, that person just gave me a funny look. They're all out to get me. So we see the world as we are. We create our reality, is what this is saying. And that's, this is a big one too. Once we understand that it's us, then that's power. Then we can change things. When it's all random and we're just caught up in a system, what can we do, right? No power to change anything there.
And what you let in, in relation to this is what you make or what you create. And Campbell's right. If you let in bad feelings, if you let in bad scowls, if you let in bad what have you, it's going to come out as Campbell said, as you see the world is bad, the world is horrible. But if the next time someone scowls at you, you smile, or you just don't go into that store. Let's say there's a mean shopkeeper, or or you're in a mean relationship, or whatever. You're in a mean part of town, for lack of a better way to put it, and you go somewhere else. There comes your responsibility again. You go, okay, I do like what the products this store is selling, but the shopkeeper is mean, and I've had that experience, so I'm not going to go there. And then you'll go down a new street, and maybe you'll find something new that's healthier or better or happier. Again, I know this is a bit abstract, but it has to be, in that we're all unique and different. So everything has to be tailored by ourselves for ourselves, and so we have to decide, what is the world as it is for us by getting over how things seem.
Getting over ourselves. Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's all, the ego loves to be right, doesn't it? Loves to be powerful and all this kind of stuff. But it's a big trick. We believe that the power is in the ego and is in us walking around looking strong and forcing our opinion. But that's not powerful. That kind of energy will just get people grimacing at you and going, what an idiot. Get me away from this person. So it's when we change the inside world that we get different options. And it's like Lorenzo was saying, you don't know what's going to happen, and an option doesn't mean something set in stone. You don't go from this is the way the world is to now I have an option. It's either this way or this way. Options mean that they're changeable. You can walk down the street. I'm not going into that shop because that guy's just mean. Keep walking, and who knows what shop you'll find and what you'll discover. And when you leave yourself open for options, then you're open to, whatever you want to call it, right? The magic of the universe, all this wonderment and stuff that just comes. And I've said it before, the creator can imagine better things than we can. So if we, if things have to be a certain way, then all we do is block ourselves off from potential. That's one thing, right? We can't see more than the creator. So I'd say leave it up to the creator. See life as a journey. See it as a quest, right? Maybe a bit of an odd quest, but a quest indeed. And just don't take it so seriously. I mean, all right, what's the worst that could happen? You could die, but death's just a doorway. So, I wouldn't get hung up on that too much.
And it's all right not to know what's next. It's all right not to have a good choice. It's all right not to know. It's all right not to have an answer in certain things or everything, and to allow yourself to be the kind of person that's open to new things to come your way. Because again, a lot of people go, no, I feel stupid if I don't have the answer, or if I don't know what I'm going to do, people will think less of me, or if I'm not sure, I'll get taken advantage of, or what have you. But of course, there are always times to be decisive. If you're on a cliff and you're about to fall, you need to grab a tree branch or you'll die. Sure, then you have to make a quick choice. Other times, it might be okay to allow things to float. And, if you don't have a relationship, let's say, or if you don't have the food you want, or if you don't have the clothes you want, or you don't have the job you want, maybe it's okay to say, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I want to figure it out. And then, allow your outside world to get better by your food choices, your health choices, your happy choices, your emotional choices, get more sleep, get more rest, get more exercise, put down the TV and the paper. I guess that comes into this next one is, you don't believe things just because you've heard it one time. And maybe there are other ways or other facts for you that are just around the corner.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's an expert, aren't they? And this is a big thing. When you want to change, or even when you don't, everyone, every man and their dog will come up and give you advice of what you should do and how you should live and why you should do it. And normally as well, why they're correct in saying this. But again, when you look at these people, where you need to start is, do you want to be like that person? If someone's giving you advice, number one, if they're giving you advice, do this, about money. If they're not wealthy, shut your ears. This is the thing. Like, everyone wants to give you advice, but unless they've actually used that advice to make their life better, it's not advice worth listening to. So don't believe everything that you hear, especially, right, the mainstream media. And this comes back to being autodidactic, right? Self-education. We need to get as many points of view as we can. And when we do that, we're not stuck in this is the truth, because this is the mainstream media. If you've only got one point of view, then you normally believe it. But if that point of view is wrong, then where are you, right? So many points of view, and definitely do not believe anything just because you heard it. What's that saying? Believe, what is it? Half of what you see and none of what you hear. I mean, that's pretty close.
I would say that, go down the street and see what works for you, have your own experiences. What works for one person may not work for the next. It's almost impossible to believe something because you've heard it. But the simple reason is, noises on the wind, they're simply that. And even how one person interprets a sentence is not how the next person is going to interpret a sentence, let alone changing from language to language, or country to country, or even economic level to man to woman. It's going to be different for everyone. You say love to one person, it probably means 1,000 different things, or you say comfort or security, and it means another 100 million different things. So, it's someone saying that this is good or this is bad for whatever reason, you really have to, and we talked about it in one of our previous videos, check the source, check the reasoning, check why they're saying it. Are they just shooting the shit with you, or are they sharing something of authentic value? And even, have you asked for that opinion? Or is it just floating your way out of the ether, and it's something to ignore?
And most of the time it's just ego. These people just want to be heard. They just want you to look at them as someone who's smart and knows stuff. But, again, this is not something that's thought through, because if you take their advice and follow it, then you'll find out it probably doesn't work for you. And then they will not be the smart person, and you'll be yelling at them. So, we do all these things without thinking where they're going to lead. And I found this an interesting quote. I would rather be a man of paradoxes than a man of prejudices. So this is one to get your grey matter thinking. So what does this mean to you, Lorenzo? A man of paradoxes, or woman, rather than of prejudices?
Well, I guess the paradox is two things being true that seem they can't be, at the same time, would be, I guess, a rough definition of a paradox. And that means, in my opinion, maybe you're flexible. If you say something is good for you now, like it's good to have a steak, right? Or good to eat meat. Maybe it is for you that week, and maybe the next week you're going to say it's bad to eat meat because, then they'll say that, well, that's a paradox, right? I guess so, because you're contradicting yourself in a way. But it really depends on the moment and where you are. Maybe it's good to eat meat if you're in Australia because they've got good grass-fed beef. Maybe it's bad to eat meat if you're in, the middle of an area that only has, grain-fed cows, because that's not worthy of you. I mean, I've had butter from grass-fed cows that feels good in my body, and I've had butter that's not, or the same, I guess, could be said for, and I'm looking at the outside world in, so I'm looking at very simple examples. Maybe it's good to eat carrots, right? But maybe the organic carrots are good to eat and the non-organic carrots don't work for you. I mean, it's just a small way of looking at a paradox. But I would say that could be a good start into understanding that, instead of saying carrots are always bad, I guess a prejudice, right? Or carrots are always good, or a vegetarian prejudice, like you can't eat animals ever, right? And I've met a few people that were vegetarians to the point of emaciation and unhealthiness. I mean, maybe if you're living in a warm country, it's good to be a vegetarian. If you're living up north in Canada, you need to put usually some animal fats on your body, in my opinion, to stay warm in the winter. So it really depends on much of what's going on in your life. So it might seem like a paradox, but I would say that's what this means. But really, it's just a matter of flexibility in your choices. What do you think, Cam?
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, I think calling it a paradox is coming from the place of judgment, because it's really just someone who can change their mind, who's not fixed, who's not, held to their prejudices, because prejudices are, this is good, this is bad. And when you're in that, then you can't change, right? If something is bad, then how can it be good? Because it's a prejudice. So you've decided what it is. But when you're someone of paradoxes, that means that you're someone who's learning and growing. So you hit a stage and your awareness tells you that this is true. But then you keep learning and you keep growing. And a year later, you may say, I was wrong there, or that was half true, or whatever, but now this is true. And of course, people standing around looking at you who are in the same spot that they were a year ago, they're going, hang on, you didn't say that last year. I've been spending the last 6 months following word for word what you said a year ago, and now you've changed. I mean, this is the whole thing, right? And back, if you're going to just follow someone for what they said, that's not a good option. So yeah, to me, it just means like fluidity. Can you grow? Can you see more? Do you have the strength or the courage, shall we say, to admit you're wrong sometimes, and to then go out and search for the truth and become, to find things that are more right for you. This is a big thing. Once you're stuck to a prejudice, you're stuck. You're stuck. If the world's bad, the world's bad. That's it. But the reason you're stuck is every time you go out in the world, you're out there with all this energy. The world's bad. The world's bad. Like we said before, people start grimacing at you, and shopkeepers are rude to you because you're rude to them first normally, and so you get the world you create. So, someone of paradox is someone who can do that and go, "Wow, I was a real asshole today. Maybe I should change that. Maybe it was me. Okay, let's try something different." So yeah, that's how I see it. Someone who can change, who's willing to change and has the courage to change and to admit they're wrong.
Yeah, you can even be carrying a bad feeling inside and get a grimace from that shopkeeper. The next time you go in and you're carrying a good feeling, or maybe they had a bad night and you both had a bad night, so you were meeting on a bad day, right? So you could say, well, this guy's always horrible, I'm never going here again. And I've had that feeling. Or the next day they're smiling. Like, no one ever really knows what's going on with another person all the way through. Nobody even knows what's going on with themselves generally all the time, all the way through. So so allowing yourself to be living in a paradox, which means basically you're free to make choices depending on the feeling of the moment, depending on, new circumstances or new variables that are coming. And isn't that really what being alive and growth and change is all about? Is, the fluidity and the flexibility to find what's right for you at the moment, moving forward. I mean, I was a staunch organic eater for a long time in Canada. And then one day I found out, because it's Canada, all the stuff that's imported is irradiated for so-called bugs, whether it's organic or not. So, I always wondered why sometimes non-organic tasted better to me, or felt like it had more power or energy. And recently, I've seen you just have to go with the feeling. If I walk to a store or a farmer that feels good, I'll trust what they're growing, right? I've had organic stuff that tastes lousy, and then you find out it's grown by, a big corporate farm out of, Southern California that's just making millions of acres of organic cabbage, and then it's put in a truck for 2 weeks, shipped off to your store and irradiated before it gets there. And they put an organic label on it simply because it was grown in cow shit. Doesn't mean it's any better for you than, maybe something that had a bit of non-organic fertilizer, but was raised with love and sunshine and was never irradiated. So again, that was my paradox, where I had to learn that you just never know. You really have to go with the flow of your feelings. And again, looking from the outside world in, that was one way I learned to nourish my body in a better way. So my energy started growing stronger and allowed me to make better choices by seeing, you never know on the outside, even, depending on the labels, what you need to do for yourself, even as simple as, the carrots you're going to eat. Aha.
Exactly. The world's always a reflection of what you have inside of you. And this is, again, what we're talking about. So, the thing is about this experience and life is we're not here to do the same thing over and over every day. Because clearly that, that's not growing, that's not growth, that's not fun either, right? We're actually down here to enjoy life, but we're tricked, right? They trick us and they say, no, you're actually here to work for us. And then, if you work hard enough, at the end, we'll give you 5 years where you don't have to work. And if you're lucky, you can feed yourself in those 5 years. So it's a big scam. So it's what we believe. The world does become a reflection of us. If we, believe it's a bad place and, and we're just here to work and we're all slaves and it's a prison planet and, oh my God, these people, they're so horrible. That's what you're going to, create. That's what you're going to see. Because you can literally have two people walk down the street next to each other and one's looking out and they're just seeing this horrible world that's so hard and, oh my God, it's just all against me. And the person next to them can be like, oh, this is awesome. I love this. It's such a nice sunny day. Oh, everyone's beautiful. Look at that person just smiled at me. Complete two different worlds, but the same street. And that's not even an exaggeration. This is literally how it works. The world is literally a reflection of what we believe it is. So, we are literal creators. And this is the biggest point. If you can change the way you think and the way that you see the world you see will change. It just will.
I mean, if you want ultimate power, you have to take ultimate responsibility and realize you're ultimately responsible for what's going on around you. We can turn it back to the abuser or the abused, or what you eat or what you don't eat, or your body weight or your health or your relationship. And I honestly don't have any pity for myself. I'll just say when I come to a place where things are bad, having pity gives you no choice, right? You go, oh, poor me. Cambell put it that way many times. I feel so sorry that my life is horrible for this reason or that reason. I wasn't born with rich parents. I wasn't born tall. I wasn't born in this part of the world. I wasn't born being able to throw a baseball accurately, or, fill in your own sadness that you have here. But if you figure out that without pity for your circumstances, maybe you can choose something else or change that inside world towards a different reality, well, then your outside world will definitely shift for you in that moment. It's a great quote, because if you change how you feel on the inside, the outside definitely changes for you. And if you don't like what you see on the outside, maybe we're talking about from the outside in, you can change that, and then maybe your inside will change. In other words, if you spend all day in front of a computer or watching violent movies or playing violent video games, and then you're walking around and feeling sad about your life and why you always feel horrible, let's say, maybe if you put down that time and do something else, sit with a flower, take a walk, write a book, write a poetry, I don't know, go sit by a river. There's a nice river in the picture here. It's really up to you. You might find that your inside world changes by itself because you've changed what you're putting inside yourself from your outside world.
And just a break will help. That will give you different insights and thoughts. Change is as good as a holiday, as they say. So we do not come into this world, we come out of it like leaves from a tree. I'll put this one in here, just and this is to do with what we were talking about. We're part of a system. We're part of an energetic system, and this is, I guess, what we're going to get into going forward. Is everything's energy, and we came out of the world, which means we've been, created by the energy. The way that we, are formed, and the way that other people see us is the way that we believe we are, because it's our expression, right, in energy of the world. So, we're not just these sort of robots, right, that have just been put down here and we're just sort of been put into the world, just to have this experience and then we die. We're actually part of the whole system. And it's this whole, thing of we're all one, right? We're all part, everyone else holds a part of the creator in them, and so do we. So, everyone's a reflection of ourselves. And when we see the world like this, then we can start going forward. We can start, acting, in power, right? Making decisions that actually empower us, because we're no longer a victim. We're part of something bigger. We're part of, a big system. Other people affect us and we affect other people. What we do matters, right? If you come out of the world, what you do matters. If you're just plonked in here as a worker, it doesn't matter what you do. So yeah, it's another way of looking at it. You can either be, detached as a little robot clone, or you can be part of something bigger, part of an energetic system.
I mean, the biggest gift is, in my opinion, even being alive. I mean, the spark of life. If you consider what's going on in your body all the time to keep you living, if you consider what your parents may have gone through, good or bad parents, horrible parents, to bring you here, sacrifices made, what's required to be alive, the fact that you can breathe and eat, and that the world makes food for you, and everything is actually a gift. If you look at it, the water's here for free and the food should be here for free, and you've got 2 feet, generally most of us, you can move around. And if you consider, it will give you a shock. It's given me a shock. If you look at the outside world and you consider the gift that even being here is, the fact you can love, the fact you can hate, the fact you can hug, the fact you can have these emotions, the fact that you can have good relationship, bad relationship, taste, fruit, smell a flower, all of these things. And you go, oh my goodness. I mean, you'll miss these things when they're gone. Campbell's been hurt, I've been hurt, like you take a lot of things for granted, right? I walk a lot, and last year I really hurt my foot and I couldn't walk for a few months, and you're going, whoa, what a gift it was, just being mobile and moving around and being able to go up a mountain now that I can't do that, or what a gift it was to be able to eat fresh, raspberries in season that now that it's not in season. And just those little things will shock you and will perhaps allow you to see, as this quote says, that you come from out of this system and you're part of it, and it gives you the ability to be gifting what you were gifted with back into the system, instead of being a taker. Like, I'm alive, so they should give me this, and I'm owed this, and I'm such a nice person, so I should have more. It's like crap, if you ask me. I mean, you got the hugest gift in even being here, and how you give that back, that could be a good way also of seeing how your life can become more responsible. In that, are you making a nice life? Are you giving nice feelings? Campbell said with the shopkeeper, are you in the kind of relationship, or are you the kind of person that should be in that relationship? I mean, come on, let's become responsible for who we are and how we are. If you're not healthy, make yourself healthy. If you're not happy, make yourself happy. If you're not abundant and rich, make yourself abundant and rich. The pieces are there for all of us to pick up. And if you don't know what they are, then maybe that's your next quest. Find what those pieces are, or find how to find those pieces, or find why you don't know how to find why you don't know that there's even pieces. You can take it back as far as you like, but as soon as you realize you're responsible for wherever you're sitting, and that you can help yourself get to the next step, even if you're 100 steps behind where you would like to be, then the power will come as you take the next step. A journey of a million miles starts with the first step, as they say.
Yeah, and you can turn around on that journey anytime you want. If you get down that journey, even if you get 500,000 miles into your million-mile journey, and you suddenly realize, hang on, I'm on the wrong path, you can still change, right? You can then change. And a lot of people just believe that they can't. They believe, well, I'm this, and I put myself forward as this kind of a person. And the big one, right? Look at my qualifications. I'm this, look how qualified and intelligent I am. I'm a doctor, or I'm a lawyer. And people become these things and become their self-image, and then they find it hard to change. It's like, I'm a big, powerful lawyer. I just found out that the whole system is corrupt, and I really feel like I should leave and do something better. But what would people think? I'm a big, powerful, intelligent lawyer, and look at all the money in my big house and my big furrows of worry, as Bill Hicks would say. And so this is the thing. What for? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want people standing around at your funeral going, oh yeah, he had a big house and his car was so nice, and I mean, his title, oh my God, the title that guy had, CEO. Or do you want them saying, well, that guy, he touched me. He cheated in a good way, right? That person, changed my life. They did good. That they left the world better than they found it. How do you want people to talk about you? And this is the thing. So we can be a part of the world. We can be here as part of this system, connected to everyone else, and we're all a team going forward, trying to make something better, get better experiences, helping each other. Or we can be in here running around, headbutting walls, yelling at each other, and then complaining that we don't get what we want. The choice is really yours, and you're free to make whichever one you want. If you want to blame the world, that's your choice. I'll just let you know, you'll still be sitting there in 25 years blaming the world. Nothing will have changed. It's all choice.
Yeah. There's always ways forward. If you're watching these videos with us, we have many ways we can help you out. We're going to leave a link below a little bit, for freedomshift.life. We've come up with 8 ways that we may be able to work together, or you may be able to help yourself. And I'm not saying we have all the answers for everyone, because I know I don't. I've talked with enough people to know some people we can work with, some people we can't, some people we can help, some people we can't. Some people have bigger challenges than I'm willing to face with them, and some people don't. But, what it really comes down to is, you are making your own reality. You can shift. I like this quote Cambell just put up. You figure out what's real and what's not, and then you make it real, or you don't. I guess everything is created twice.
Exactly. Yeah, I
At
love
least.
this as well. It's
Mhm.
such a true saying. Everything, yeah, at least, right? At least twice. Everything has to be a thought first, and then we have to make the decision: are we going to put that into the physical world? And this is really, where we are. We're in here, part of the world, and we get all this information, and it comes through, and then we run it through our filters, and we run it through our perspective, and that's what we then give back to the world. So what do we want to be giving back? Obviously, if your perspective is everything's bad and dark and sucks, then what you're giving back to the world is probably not going to be received very well. And we know this, right? It's people who are out there, and they're encouraging, and they tell you can do what you want, and you have the power, and they'll be behind you on that. People love these, people want to be around these people because they understand that the reality they're creating is better than what they've got at the moment. And so everything is created twice. So if that's true, and it is, what are you creating first? What are your thoughts? Because if everything is created twice, then that means that every thought you have must lead on to some kind of creation. And I don't mean it has to appear in front of you physically, but it's going to create something. And this is how we need to look at life. We just need to be a bit more responsible. Take it's like your bedroom, right? Treat your mind like a temple. Would you let people into your house if it was messy and there was rotten food in the kitchen, and rats and mice running around? It was just, because you never looked after it. Or would you, if people come into your house, do you want to present it nicely because that's you, right? This is why people will judge you on your house. It's not that the house is messy. It's that you're messy. You made the house messy. All right. So this is it. It's, yeah, who do you want to be? Like, if it's your mind, get in there every day and clean it up. Oh, that thought's crap. Get rid of that. This is no good. This is serving me. This isn't serving me. And really start to treat it like it, because it's the most important thing you'll ever own. It is in fact you, pretty much, right? But so many people just treat it like, it's just my thoughts. Why do you think that? Oh, I don't know. Why do you believe that? I don't know. What do you think about this? Oh, I don't care. Really? Really? Maybe that's why we're in the position we are at the moment.
You only have one system, and it's you. You can buy a new car, you can buy a new house, you can change your shoes, you can change your clothes, but whether it's your mind or your guts or your heart or your feet or your weight or your health, you are the system through which you see the world, right? Whether, inside and outside to inside. So, not taking full care of the one vehicle we all get going through this life is insanity, in my opinion. And you see it over and over, people that don't look after their health, don't look after their minds, don't look after their time, don't look after how they spend their time, don't look after who they spend their time with, don't look after what they put in their body, whether it's a thought or a TV or a process or some food or the air they breathe or whatever, or too much of this or not enough of that. And it's crazy, really, for me it was too, that you don't see the value, like to devalue what is of most value, your literal energy in the system through which you see it. In other words, your body and then your energy system. If you do change that, it's like putting bad gas in your car or never tuning up your vehicle. Of course, you're going to have problems eventually. So, from the outside in, what you do and what you see, it's the small things that actually make your dream much stronger or weaker. It's not really the big things. Oh, if I had $1 million, oh, if I was finally, 10 pounds of more muscle, or if I, if my boobs were bigger, or my hair was longer, or my, or if my pecs were stronger, whatever. It's nonsense. It's the little things. Like Campbell mentioned, and we both mentioned, eat well, be kind, be wrong when you need to be responsible, small steps every day, accept responsibility for how you're feeling and what's going on in your life. And you'll see little by little, step by step, the change that you're after. If you are after changing the life that you're after, if you're after changing your life or shifting it, can happen if you're willing to put in the work, because it is a lot of work, but it's also the only work, in my opinion, worth doing, right?
Is there any other work? I mean, really, what
Yeah.
are we down here for, right? It's all about experience. And again, we kind of got tricked into thinking it was about being a part of a system and all this, but clearly it's not. And if we don't understand that now, we definitely understand it on our deathbed, as they call it, when we're looking back on our life. So what kind of life do you want to live? And the journey, of 1,000 miles or 1,000,000 miles again starts with the first step. So don't expect that if you make a decision that suddenly you're going to walk out tomorrow and there'll be the love of your life there and a brand new Porsche, and you'll turn around and you'll be in a mansion somehow. It's not how it works. And that's what everyone's going to tell you. I actually saw an ad on YouTube, and I seriously, why they let these, it's got to be illegal to let these ads on. And this guy was going, you can make $1,000 a day, $1,000 a day. Yes, just respond to this and you'll have your $1,000 within half an hour. And I'm just like thinking, is anyone going to believe this guy? Guys, this is not how the world works. If that's how the world worked, everyone would have their $1,000 a day. And something else to think about just when you see these ads, if that guy could make $1,000 a day for anyone he meets, why is he trying to sell it? Right? He's rich. If he was trying to help people, he'd be giving it away, right? He wouldn't be trying to make money up. So this is all, we've got to really, and that gets back to, what we believe. You've got to understand that the world's full of different people. Some are good, some are bad. And this is kind of the quest, right? How smart are you? Are you going to fall for the silly people who are trying to trick you, for the bad people? Or are you going to be attracted towards the good people, and go and learn what you really want? Because it's all a decision. And so many people don't use their mind. They don't think, what do you want? I don't know. Why? I don't care. So they follow some idiot, do something stupid, end up somewhere they don't want to be, and they want to turn around and blame everyone else. And again, like we said, you can do that, but just realize you'll still be there in 10 years. The other option is to say, well, okay, maybe I'll go find a mirror, have a look at myself, see what really needs to change and change that, because in the end, we're creating our reality. It's the thoughts that we create first that then manifest into the world we interact with, which is, I guess, the theme of this show.
Yeah.
It's taking the outside world in and then giving back to it more of ourselves.
Let's be honest, we're all odd. It's been an odd journey. That's why we call it the Odyssey with D. Everyone's strange. I haven't met anyone who's not strange. I haven't met anyone who's not weird. I haven't seen anyone naked who's not funny looking in one way or several. I think everyone's odd in their way.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, you're loving, you can make a loving world, and then you become beautiful if you're not.
Yeah.
If you're handsome or pretty and you're not loving, to me, you become very ugly very quick. We all have hearts. Work for it. We did one called Heart's Voice. Campbell and I did our last video, 3.5. I highly recommend it. It's actually been our most popular one so far, pretty much getting the most positive comments and views like that. What I've won is so, and I haven't seen this one yet in completion, but it's the one I'm most proud of so far that we've done, simply because if you make your heart work and you see outside to the inside why it's not, and what you need to create and how you would love to see things. Your heart can influence your mind. Your heart can influence your eating habits. Your heart can influence your job and your relationships. If you don't know where to start from the outside in, maybe start with your heart and see what's good and not. Be honest, and from there, I figure if you take responsibility and you start to make small changes, the big ones will follow by themselves.
Indeed, indeed. And obviously, we've been talking about the mind quite a bit in the last couple of episodes. And so going forward, we're going to start getting more into, like Lorenzo just mentioned, the heart and other ways that we can see reality and use, different parts of our temple, shall we say, to interact with the world. Because clearly, we have more than just our mind. If we're just in the mind, we're kind of trapped. So a lot of talk about heart and heart space and coming from your heart lately, and raising vibrations and all this kind of stuff. So this is what we're going to get into. So we're halfway through. This is episode number 4 of the Odyssey of Truth. And yes, you are an oddball. We all are. Oddballs unite. And why would you want to talk to someone in a suit? You know what these people's responses are going to be before you ask them a question. Go and talk to the crazy man who's wearing one shoe and a funny hat. You'll get, much better responses and have a much better time, talking to the people that are on the fringe, shall we say. But yeah, guys, don't take it too seriously. It's an adventure. It's an odyssey. It's a quest. And we're just here to experience it. And if we take it all too seriously, get uptight, we get stressed out, we can't experience the beauty and the wonder of life. And so that's what we all need to do going into this new world, into a new year as well, at the end of 2021 already. Of course, we all got perfect vision last year. I don't know what this year was. Perfect. I don't know. It's something, the perfect storm.
Perfect something, perfect storm. We're going to go extra dimensional after, we're coming up, as Campbell said, into number 4. We'll release it before the new year. After the new year in 2022, we're going to go into the second half. I'm looking to get extra dimensional. We'll go down those rabbit holes and sideways and up and everywhere else, 4th, 5th, 6th dimension, as best as we can describe in these 3rd dimensional bodies, that we're currently inhabiting. And we're delighted you joined us on this journey. I'm happy to see you here. There's so much more information on Campbell's channel, Autodidactic. Check out the new now. We have tons of videos with interesting people and more coming. The new agora.ca, where we've done stuff for 10, 11, 12 years. So much back information. It's crazy. Campbell's also done Spiral Up, which is more of an internal, work through of how to make yourself higher in an energetic sense, if I may speak for him from what I've seen in his videos. Yep. And he's got a new one out, which is on our homepage as well, which is very interesting on your programming and how to change that. And, so together with us, freedomshift.life, I'll mention that again. We're going to leave the links below. Send us your contact. We'll get back to you. We're happy to see what could work and if we can work together. And I've had a good time today. How about you, Campbell?
I have, yeah. No, I've enjoyed it. I think it's been good. And we're on the precipice, going from the physical world and the mind, and now we're going to get a bit more, spiritual and heart-centered as we go forward. And I think it's just, it's really good that this sort of course, what we're talking about, it's pretty much mirroring what's going on in the outside world, as this ramps up and everyone starts to sort of talk about, heart space and more energetic sort of values and belief systems. We've hit the point where that's, we decided a few weeks ago that this is the point where we're going to hit and go into the more unseen, shall we say, the ether. And so, hope you've enjoyed it up to now, guys. Please do share this around, these videos. And like Lorenzo said, there is another, this is episode 4, so there's another 3, and then there's another, there's a half episode for each one as well. So should be 7 videos or so. Share them around, guys. If you think that this is going to help people, we know it's a time of change. A lot of people are looking for answers. It's a confusing time. So please do share them around. Also, give us a like, a subscribe if you haven't already, and join the Telegram channel. Join the chat. You'll find all the links below for everything we've talked about and mentioned below. So thanks for joining us. Have an amazing day. Thank you, Lorenzo. And we'll catch you next time on the Odyssey of Truth. All right. Talk to you next time, guys.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Can't make me lie, lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom first is what I say.